just to be talked about at this epic event of events and whatnot. But
we're kind of in the eye of the storm that is Comic-Con and E3 and...
Yeah, but we do have some interesting stuff to talk about nonetheless, and we are very excited to share it with you, the audience. So let's begin with our weekly recap, where we talk about some of the latest things to have happened within the week, as well as share our opinions on it. Mm-hmm. So let's get started.
Alrighty.
So there's some good news on the way for the upcoming Mortal Kombat movie. According to The Hollywood Report, Raid star Joe Taslim will be playing Sub-Zero, the Lin Kuei Icebender of the iconic game franchise.
Alright.
Not only that, but screenwriter Grey Russo has confirmed the film will be a rated R film and will feature the fatalities that make the game so popular, something past movies have excluded because for some reason the last few Mortal Kombat movies have really wanted to be more of a PG-13 kind of thing.
It's because they want to appeal to the teens that are playing the games, but they can't make them realistic, and it's kind of the Deadpool conundrum, is you want to appeal to teens, but to be true to the source material, you have to be rated R.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am kind of excited. I am glad that we finally have the fatalities, especially with Mortal Kombat X and, Mortal Kombat, the latest ones to come out and everything. Mm-hmm. The fatalities have been getting more and more detailed. A bit something to be a little concerned about, but also something to just check out nonetheless. It is what Mortal Kombat is well known for.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we already have a confirmed casting for Sub-Zero, and I'm kind of curious as to who they might cast for the rest of the characters.
Al Pacino.
Just all the other characters played by Al Pacino.
All the other characters. Even Sonya Blade is played by Al Pacino.
I'd see that movie.
You would watch that movie?
I'd watch it. 10 out of 10. Would do it again.
10 out of 10. Oh, fair enough. All right, Brian, why don't you take away the next little topic about one of your favorite directors of all time, Zack Snyder.
It has been announced that, along with his upcoming Army of the Dead series, Zack Snyder is working on a second project for Netflix. This project will be an anime series based on Norse mythology. Snyder will be teaming up with a frequent collaborator of his, Jay Oliva, who he previously worked with on Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, and 300 Rise of an Empire. All movies everyone loved.
Wonderful movies.
Do you think, in this one, he can actually have people kill in this movie, though? Unlike the other ones, where Batman was killing.
Straight up shooting people.
Yep.
Murdering.
Had a shotgun with him. The Bat shotgun.
The Bat shotgun. It's a classic. We all remember it.
Yeah, if you have a problem with that, Zack Snyder says you need to grow the F up.
Yeah. You gotta get some quick reps at the gym, as he said. Otherwise you're gonna regret it.
This thing is just, it's going to be a train wreck. I mean, come on. It's
Zack Snyder. There's going to be lots of dark. There's going to be a lot of gloominess. There's going to be a Turkish Airlines commercial somewhere in this show.
You refuse to let go of that.
I refuse to let go of that. It killed my hype for the movie Batman vs. Superman before it even came out. Just the fact that their Super Bowl spot was a Turkish Airlines commercial.
What you don't see is that I made a movie that everybody can enjoy, okay? I don't care about anyone else but me, okay? So I'm going to make the movie I want to make, okay? Quick reps at the gym, going to make a good Batman movie, okay?
Was that Zack Snyder or Quentin Tarantino?
That's Zack Snyder. Quentin Tarantino is more like, look, all right, here's what I'm going to make, all right? I'm going to make a movie that you really enjoy, okay? Nobody else is going to enjoy it but you, okay? It's be for you. Written just for you.
I did this. I made this happen, and I apologize.
We got some good impersonations here now. Thank you very much for that.
Are you threatening me? Is that what's happening right now? Are you threatening me?
No. On with the next little bit of news. It has been announced by Amazon that they are developing a Lord of the Rings MMO.
Wait, Amazon not the shipping service.
Yeah.
Oh yes, very much so.
The shipping service that also makes their own TV and movies and audiobooks and music.
I forget to make their own music.
I don't know if they make their own music, but they have, their version of Spotify.
Yeah. I'll allow it.
Now, little is known about this title, but it's supposedly going to be unrelated to the films or Amazon's upcoming TV show about Lord of the Rings. So this is like, it's own original, based off of the books, I guess.
It's hard to tell because the TV show is going to be based. It's going to be set like hundreds of years before the books during the Second Age, where I think the books are during the Third Age. I don't read Tolkien. I don't really know.
Yeah.
So they are willing to play around with where it is in the timeline, as shown with this $1 billion TV show.
I mean, I have no problems with it. One of my favorite Lord of the Rings games was Battle for Middle-earth. I think it was on the PlayStation 2. It was like completely disconnected from the movies, and it was a good game nonetheless. So, I mean, I could see this working. But then again, I've never been much... I mean, I like the movies, and I am a bit of a fan of Lord of the Rings, but I'm not as completely devoted to be able to play an MMO.
I've never been into the whole Middle Earth thing, like the whole fantasy realm has never been.
Right. I'm more of a sci-fi kind of guy, post-apocalypse kind of guy.
I've never been into the dungeons and the wizards.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons and all that. Yeah.
I still have to get a campaign started. I promised a bunch of people, and I still got to get that done. I'm still thinking about it, Ches. I will get that done.
Let me know if you need dice. I have a lot of dice.
A lot of D20s?
Yeah, I think I have a D100 somewhere.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's absurd. I don't know why.
So, Brian, why don't we talk about the Nintendo Switch Lite?
So we talked about in the past about how it was rumored that Nintendo was working on 2 new versions of the Switch, but they wouldn't confirm anything. Well, now they've confirmed at least one, and that is the Nintendo Switch Lite. This new Switch is a handheld-only version of the console, so you can't put it in the dock and play it on your TV. It's handheld only. It does not have the detachable Joy-Cons. It doesn't have motion control. It doesn't have Bluetooth sensor, from what I've heard. But it does have a longer battery life. It's smaller. And it costs $100 less. It is, for people that don't want to spend $300 on a console, but $200 on a handheld.
I think that's good because I got the Switch and I'm very happy with it. It's a very good, a good piece of gaming equipment. The only thing I would say that kind of holds it back is I think it was geared towards more the portable kind of community, which is fine, but it tried to dip its toe into the home console, so it's like in the weird. I like the hybrid version, but not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They wanted something more portable, and I think this Lite version will give people that portable system, a really high quality, good portable system, for less money.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that only play their Switch in handhelds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it actually on the TV. It's actually how I prefer to play it, especially if you get a controller with it. It's a lot easier. But I mean, I just like that Nintendo is really, it's a very different way of doing gaming.
I'm not surprised that the Nintendo Switch is doing this really, because Nintendo's always been the company to kind of make a console and then make a cheaper version of the console, or have some extra little bit of something that you could use. For the DS, we had the DS, and then the DS Lite, and the DS XL, and different sizes. And then for the 3DS, we had the 2DS, which was basically the same thing, except it couldn't fold. It was just a big old
Unless you got
thing.
the 2DS XL.
Unless you had the 2DS XL, the naming system.
Which I have, by the way.
Hey,
because I only wanted to play Metroid.
So, I mean, this is the usual thing for
By
Nintendo.
the way, Nintendo.
They make a console, they make a cheaper version to try and make more money by selling a cheaper version to people.
By the way, Nintendo, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but if you are, I'm still waiting on a Metroid game.
Yeah, I'm waiting on another Punch-Out, but I've been waiting.
I'll be waiting, I'll be waiting. I'll probably get it when I'm like 90 or something.
Yeah. The only sad part of this is probably the end for the DS brand. Because this is essentially just their new line of handheld.
I guess. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
no, it's the DS has been around since 2006. That's 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question, I guess for Nintendo, because it's always the next question is what's next.
Yeah.
Like what is there? My question is there going to be a new home console, like an actual legit home console, or is it just going to stay as
I could have sworn that was like the rumor spreading around that Nintendo was going to have something focused more on handheld and something focused more on home console.
That is the rumor, that the other unannounced console is going to be the Switch Pro, that's like console only, no handheld. So you could, and there may be some sort of trade so you could, transfer your games between the Lite and the Pro, so you could have the console and the handheld. Of course, whether that's anything is hard to tell.
You might as well just get a regular Switch then.
Might as well. This is the whole conundrum. You might as well just get the Switch.
But there are people that will buy both, and that is the market Nintendo's stepping into. There are people that will buy all three just to have them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess for the Switch that I'm kind of waiting for is more content. Like, more of original content, because it seems like they're putting a lot of ports onto it. Like they put the Alien. I've heard that they're putting Witcher 3 on it.
Yep.
They're putting Alien Isolation on it. They put Saints Row 3 on it. It's like, okay, great games. Really good on the 360.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to play it on the Switch. I want to play it on the. I want to play it a whole new, brand new game for the Switch, like purposely made, geared towards the Switch.
Right. Right.
I don't want to play just another. If I wanted to play Saints Row 3, I'd just go play it.
Yeah.
On my 360 or something. I don't know why we need these ports over. It's kind of like.
I think it's more for, again, the handheld crowd, is because, hey, you can play this Witcher 3 on the train.
But it's not going to be as graphically.
No, it's like 540p in handheld.
That's kind of expected when it comes to a handheld port of a game anyways.
Yeah, but it's like, if I wanted to, like, okay, you want to play it handheld, but you don't get the quality.
Because, like, for example, when I had a PlayStation Vita around the time that the Vita was still, alive, one of the first games I had gotten was a port of Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation Vita, and the graphics were nowhere near as good as Borderlands 2, even though Borderlands' graphics is something of its own caliber. But it was still fun to play, and there was a lot of cool implements they used with the Vita itself, how like you use the motion sensors to move the reticle just a little bit to the side to snipe someone.
And those are all cool gimmicks, but it's like not a core gameplay.
I suppose.
And the thing that, my first handheld system was a PSP too. So like my first handheld was a PSP, and it was cool. But it was like, so like I remember one of the first kind of more mature games I got on it was Rainbow Six, and that was a really good PSP port, by the way. That was really good. But I later got the 360 and just blew it like right out of the water. You know? And so for me the whole gimmick of, well, you can play it on the go doesn't for me personally it doesn't outweigh the fact that I can play it just really how it's supposed to be played. Yeah, it has to be made exclusively for the handheld to entice you to play the handheld. Yeah. And that's like, oh, you'll never get this anywhere else besides on the Switch. Okay, then I'll pay.
Yeah, and they do have games like that coming up. We've got Marvel Ultimate Alliance coming out soon. We've got the new Fire Emblem, the new Pokemon games.
And I heard a lot of people didn't like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance reveal trailer at E3. There's a lot of backlash about that.
People have complaints about usually anything that Nintendo releases at first, but that's only because of how picky people tend to be. I mean, there's the whole fiasco going on right now over Pokemon's national dex.
Yeah, and we've talked about that.
We've gotten into that one, but that's just how Nintendo fans are. First it comes out, they have so many doubts because they're used to all other companies, kind of like just flipping the table over them. And then, at the end of the day, everyone's content once it actually comes out because it's Nintendo. They don't screw people over that much.
Not purposely.
Yeah. They've gotten worse in the last few years.
But not as bad. But like as compared to EA.
Yeah, they're not EA.
Compared to EA, who doesn't want to be the monsters that people say they are.
There's the Switch and then there's a dial. They do it a dial. EA does it a Switch. Like they just completely make everyone go against them within a heartbeat, where it's like a dial for Switch, but or Nintendo. But anyways, on to the next topic, something that I am very excited for. For those of you out there who might be fans of the 1930s cartoon-themed Dark Souls of cartoon games Cuphead, Netflix has announced that they're working on an animated series for Cuphead, the Cuphead Show, also starring Mugman, which is what it said on the poster. So that's a game I haven't picked up. So Cuphead, is it that hard?
So difficult.
What makes it that hard?
It is like but looking like a Betty Boop drawn cartoon.
It's essentially a bullet hell game for most of the boss fights. It's just there's so much on the screen
So
you
much
have to dodge.
jumping and moving and running around and constantly shooting, hoping that you could take out the boss and everything. And like each boss is like 3 different phases they go through, and each phase is a whole different style of combat. So it's like you'll die a lot playing Cuphead. But they're working on a show based off of the iconic characters Cuphead and Mugman, 2 characters in Inkwell Isle who have to collect souls for the devil who stole their souls in a gambling game at the very beginning of the video game. Little is known about the series other than that, and also the fact that the game's creators want to avoid using computer-assisted animation, which is kind of true, kind of not. They admitted that they themselves aren't going to make this show because they said, and I quote, it would never get done if they do it, because Cuphead was done frame by frame by frame drawings for virtually everything in the game.
And it was first announced in 2013 and came out in 2017.
Yeah, none of this was digitalized in the game. All of it was hand-drawn cartoon stuff, just using basic coding to make it move around. All of it is iconic 1930s cartoon.
Wow, so they did it hand-drawn, frame by frame.
Frame by frame, yes. And the show is going to be tradigital. It's going to be tradigital. It's going to be traditionally drawn while also using computer-assisted digital stuff in order to make everything get created a bit faster. Imagine like 1960s kind of cartoons is the way that this is going to look. It's a bit of a style change, but it's not too much to really turn people away from it. You know?
They haven't actually said what the style is. They have been purposely vague about pretty much everything. They haven't confirmed if the style is going to be the same, if the music's going to be the same, if there's going to be voice acting.
All we can really go by so far is a poster that has been announced for the Cuphead show starring Mugman. And the style itself reminds me a lot of 1960s cartoons, where it was still squeeze and stretch like Looney Tunes and whatnot, but it was starting to look a bit more Cal Arts. You know,
like the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Kind of more like kind of also looks like modern day Cartoon Network kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm excited for it nonetheless. Why don't we take on the next topic, Brian?
Okay. Oliver Jackson Cohen, one of the stars of The Haunting of Hill House, has been cast as the Invisible Man in the upcoming Dark Universe Invisible Man film. Originally, the character would have been portrayed by Johnny Depp. There's been no confirmation as to why Depp was replaced, but let's face it, we all know why. This casting comes a few months after Elizabeth Moss was cast as the female lead of the film. Now, there have actually reportedly been some changes to how this film fits into the Dark Universe. It appears they're taking the approach DC is now taking, where all the films are part of the same universe, but they're not just building up to the giant crossover.
Not like Marvel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even Marvel's kind of admitted that their next phase, they don't really want everything to build up to the ultimate crossover movie.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that all universes are kind of doing at the moment, you know. But I'm wondering if there might be like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in the Dark Universe, because that movie kind of was like a crossover between like a lot of Universal monsters, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know who has the rights to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen right now.
But
sorry, is that the one with Ben Stiller?
No.
I was thinking of something else. It was with
That was the one with Sean Connery.
It had Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It had the Invisible Man.
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, there were vampires in it and everything. Yeah, but it was an interesting movie. But, you know, I am curious to watch The Invisible Man once it comes out. I never actually seen The Invisible Man, the original movie, at all, so I don't really know what the plot or the premise is to it or anything. You know, but I mean,
well, basically, because it's an old 1930s movie. Surprise, surprise. In which this mad scientist kind of finds a way to turn himself invisible and just starts wreaking havoc. That's the whole plot.
Yeah.
Huh.
Of course, how much, the movie will take from that. I mean, Tom Cruise mummy had basically nothing in common with the original.
With the Boris Karloff money.
Other than there was a mummy in it, kind of.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was trying. Oh my.
It had the name, and that's all that really mattered to Universal.
It had the name, and they hinted at the Dark Universe being a thing.
With what's his name? Russell Crowe as
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
God, that was such a wonderful movie.
It's such a. I was telling Brian, like I'm so tired of these CGI fests of just complete like let's do this CGI again.
Mhm. Try saying that to Michael Bay. See what he does.
He cracked me over the head.
Anyways, on to the next little topic. Decker Montgomery, I hope I said that right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Has revealed that a new live-action Power Rangers movie is in development. However, it does not involve the cast of the 2017 reboot.
Now, Montgomery played the Red Ranger in the 2017 reboot. He also plays Billy on Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Billy.
Now, I mean, it's interesting. I believe Hasbro recently said they were going to be making a series of movies based off of their iconic toy lines.
Yeah.
You know, so this is one of the ones being worked on, doing Power Rangers. Eventually, there will be a He-Man. I think Thundercats was Hasbro.
Yeah, Thundercats is Hasbro. He-Man's been in development for like over a decade at this point.
Gosh, you know.
Well, like all the old '80s cartoons that
At one point, there was going to be a crossover between G.I. Joe and Transformers.
That had happened in the comic books, so I could believe that, actually. I could actually believe that. But then again, I also wouldn't look forward to it because Michael Bay's depiction of any soldier has, like, absolutely no character to him. They are just soldier number one, woo America, basically. You know, they're always there when there's
muscles.
a slow-motion jet flying overhead with the
muscles
flags.
talk for themselves.
Yeah.
The gun show is what really sells the characters. You know? Every muscle defined and talks to the audience. You know.
Yeah.
This is America. This is what we do. We fight for freedom. You know?
And
liberty, justice. Like the Dutch Bros.
Like Freedom Frost.
The Freedom Frost. How do we walk into a promo for Dutch Bros?
I don't know, but you know, if they want to give us, free,
hey,
Freedom
we're
Frost.
down for promos for Dutch Bros.
Yeah,
Freedom Frost for liberty and justice in America.
Gosh, Liberty Prime over here.
Freedom and democracy for all. I mean, red, white, and blue never looked so good.
Anyways, that was our weekly recap. As we stated before, this is a bit of a short one.
Yeah.
But we do have a trailer to talk about in our trailer talk section. We will be talking about the latest trailer for the live-action Mulan. Its release date is March 27th, 2020, starring Liu Yifei, Donnie Yen, Jet Li, and many others. The synopsis is to save her ailing father from serving in the Imperial Army. A fearless young woman disguises herself as a man to battle northern invaders in China. And it is directed by Nikki Caro. Now, one thing that I can say, this one looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the Disney live-action movies out there that I've always been very, very adamantly against, even Lion King, this is the one live-action one, aside from Jungle Book, that I can honestly get behind. The fight scenes actually look good. The locations actually look like their locations would be in real life and everything.
Apparently there is something of a controversy because apparently some of the architecture of buildings is not period.
Oh goodness.
Which ancient Chinese architecture nerds are very upset about that.
A very niche.
Yes.
Very niche crowd.
Very niche.
Very niche.
You wonder if they were saying anything like this during the Jungle Book where Mowgli goes to that temple or whatever.
Probably.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case.
That's not exactly what is the Indian temple that we see out here. It's actually more. It looks more like this. It's like it doesn't. It's a movie. Just go with it.
It's like James Cameron and Aquaman.
It's like, okay, you have a problem with the temple structure, but you have no problem with a talking panther. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Just checking where the line gets crossed. Okay.
This child has befriended a talking bear, and you have problems with the architecture.
So you gotta draw the line somewhere.
And one thing that everybody seems to be talking about right now with this trailer is that we have not seen Mushu, the dragon who was voiced by Eddie Murphy in the animated version of Mulan.
Good.
And it's rumored that it might not be a dragon that's going to be in this live-action interpretation.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumors surrounding Mushu. One is that he's not going to be in it at all, that's a change they've made. Other is that you can see a hawk at certain points in the trailer, and that may be Mushu. But who knows? There's also been a change made to the villain, who was formerly Shan Yu, who in the original animated movie was evil. And that was all his personality was.
He was just a really evil person who had a hawk.
Yes, and now he is Bori Khan, who is invading China to try to avenge his dead father with the help of a witch.
Is it supposed to be like Genghis Khan's?
It's supposed to be like they were the Huns in the original movie,
Yeah,
but they were led by
Huns.
Shan Yu, so
Right.
he's Bori Khan to better fit in with the. It's hard to tell because again, animated movie and he's being helped by a witch, so
Right.
how real this is. But it shows that with the witch aspect, they're not trying to like cut out magic, and that's why they've cut Mushu. They still have this sort of magical element.
Yeah.
I pinpointed where I got tired of remakes.
Okay.
I pinpointed. It was when they made way back. When I say way back, is like 10 years. Wow, that is way back now.
Yeah.
10 years ago, way back, they made it was it Clash of the Titans? Clash of the Titans.
Wow.
They made a remake of Clash of the Titans,
Mhm.
and that was like my most beloved movie when I was a kid because it's like the last like stop motion animation. They made. I was like, oh, so when they remade it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. They're gonna update it and everything, and it turned into a CGI fest. And
Yep, all CGI.
Had a Sam. What was his name? Sam. Washington.
Sam Wentworth. He was in Terminator Salvation.
Right, and he had 2 movies, and then he was off the face of the earth just like that. Clash of the Titans and Terminator Salvation. But it was my most beloved. They made my most beloved movie just completely bad. It was just CGI, and no one tried. Like you could tell in that movie, no one tried.
Yeah, wasn't Liam Neeson in that?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was Zeus.
Mhm.
He was
Yeah.
Zeus that was, and he's like, you could tell he's like, he's just like, oh, dude.
Just
Zeus.
You've
No,
got
Zeus.
Liam Neeson playing Zeus, and I can't even remember that. That's
Yeah.
kind of a sad.
That's a red flag right there.
And you know what? The worst part is, so there's a scene in the remake where they have where Sam, whatever his name is,
Sam
Perseus,
Witwicky.
Perseus is Sam Witwicky, is like with the Trojans that he's gonna go on and fight with. And there's a scene where they had, if you remember the original one with the Ray Harryhausen one, they had an owl. They had a little golden owl, and they're like, and he goes to like the commander of the Spartans, just like, oh, and Perseus finds this owl, right? And he's like, oh, we don't use that. We hate that thing. And he just kind of like threw it out to the side. And I was like, how dare you?
Gosh.
How dare you? Like, kind of like, oh, I hate, and the director stated that he hated that owl in the original one. So he just made a reference and threw it out the window.
I always hate it when films do something like that, when they just show this contempt for what they were making. Because the Fantasy Island film with Michael McDowell a while ago did it too. Because the 2 things about Mr. Rourke were his white suit and the plane. So in the first 5 minutes, they burn all his white suits, and he orders his people never to say the plane, because he hates it. Like, really, why are you remaking this if you have this level of contempt for the iconic nature of it?
It's like, and the whole point of I haven't watched it in a while, but I think the whole point of the owl was that he was kind of supposed to be the leading thing that helps them get through, like shows them where to go, and so that's a kind of a plot point to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of throw it out. Okay, what is he going to use? Pure blind instinct?
Literally toss a plot point out the window.
It's just like, why? Because you hate it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for Trailer Talk. The trailer is available on YouTube if you'd like to give it a watch. And if you do give it a watch, please give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you thought about it. And with that being said, we've reached the end of today's episode of The Phone Booth. As always, my name is Edward Heitman. Joining me in the studio today is my good friend and co-host, Brian Rodriguez.
Goodbye.
Along with our handy-dandy board op, Parker Spurlin.
Signing out.
Be sure to tune in every Saturday from 1 to 2 here on TVOSJ, the voice of San Joaquin, where you hear us talk about all things pop